Hey Staten Island, this is Healthwish, a conversation about the state of healthcare in the fabulous 5th borough. Our aim is to raise issues, raise awareness, and raise health. Because when we raise health, we raise everyone. Today, we're back at one of the borough's most beloved cultural spots, the more than magnificent St. George Theater. This palatial venue first opened its doors in 1929 and rivaled Manhattan's finest theaters as a showcase for musical concerts, dance performances, comedy shows, and more. We asked Doreen Cugno, president and CEO of the St. George Theater, about the theater's remarkable history and about her family's quest to rescue the theater from the wrecking ball and preserve its elegant grandeur for Staten Island and for all of New York City. Give a listen.
Welcome to the historic St. George Theater.
Cool, thank you. What a beautiful place. It's interesting. I've now been in here so many times, and yet every time I come in, I'm really just in awe of how majestic it is. And I think, it's really wonderful to have this opportunity to speak to you and to speak about the place. I'd love to start with, what were you thinking? I mean, something of this size, trying to restore this with one family. I'm just curious, what got you to that point where you decided you were going to take this on?
So my mom, the late Mrs. Rosemary, she grew up in this theater and she loved this theater and she felt someone had to do it. Many attempts made, many of them failed, but we did come to the rescue. We didn't know how long it would take, but we knew it could happen, and if anyone could do it without perseverance, we would get it done, and we knew it took a village. We're super grateful to many community leaders, a board of directors from the get-go. It didn't look like this.
No.
This is our orchestra level, and there were no railings here, there was no carpeting, there were no seats, there were no curtains on the stage, nor lights. It was very barren here. In the summer of 2004, when we were still renovating, the neighborhood teens mostly would walk in and say, "What's going on here?" And my mom one day said, "You know what, come back tomorrow and I'm gonna teach you how to dance. Bring a friend or two." So the next day, about 20 kids walked in. My mom taught them upstairs in the lobby, a dance class, a jazz class, matter of fact. She said, "Come back tomorrow, I'll teach you another class. Bring a friend." By the end of the week, we had about 35, 40 students. We taught them for about a month, all about different dance genres. They eagerly would come back here. It was amazing. At the end of the summer, we said, let's put on a show. We couldn't use the stage at the time. It wasn't ready. So we decided, let's dance on the streets. We're like, wow, what a great idea, Mom. Yeah, we'll close the street. Great. So that day has arrived, and so now it's about to start the show, and the neighborhood children invited their guardians and parents, and I remember saying to my mom, "How are we closing the street? Will the police be here?" And true story, my mom says, "Luann, you take one corner, Doreen, you take the other corner, and just stop the cars from coming down the street." I quickly ran to the corner that I thought would be the slowest to beat my sister. So I picked one corner. She went to the other corner. At that time, it was ghost town, right? There was the parking lot across the street, one flat parcel. I don't think I had to stop a car. I don't think Luann did either. So it was really a fun afternoon. The children danced on the streets. My mother made an announcement. The theater's opening up. Our first show was in September with Yolanda Adams, who was an award-winning gospel singer. That was our first show we had that September. And we had 6 shows that season. We had Howie Mandel, a Russian-American kid circus, the story of Ellis Island, and then we also started the Christmas show, a vision my mom had for presenting a really nice holiday show for Staten Islanders. I remember during the Howie Mandel show, we probably had over 1,000 people. At that time, only 1,600 seats. At that time, we were renting folding chairs on the first floor. We didn't have seats.
Wow.
We had generators to keep the lights going. Yeah, it was amazing. I remember standing over there near the stage and hearing the laughter in the room when Howie Mandel finished a joke. And I remember like such a surreal moment that, oh my goodness, we're making 1,000 people very happy right now, and a huge artist. And it felt good. That was the beginning days. But our summer outreach program is now a formal program we have every year with 80 students, boys and girls, ages 9 to 18. Every single child here wants to learn about dance and theater. And it's for children that don't have the access to the arts, that don't have the financial means to pay for programs. It's a free program. Every year it's impactful, not just for the students, But for the staff, I mean, we had one boy this summer, 14-year-old Richard. We knew he was on the spectrum with Asperger's. And at the end of the program, his mom wrote a beautiful letter to us that it was the first time ever he made friends by himself. And it was the first time ever he went out for pizza after the program with friends.
Wow. There was a reason that people failed at this before. People tried saving this place before you did and before your family did and weren't successful. And I think just the realization that something that is a fairly monumental thing, you were able to pull off. Now, I know fast forward, you run several other programs. I know pre-COVID, you do a lot of programs with a lot of different schools to the point where I'm not sure there's many schools that don't have some kind of an affiliation with you. Can you tell us some of the things that you did pre-COVID?
One program that we love is our Arts and Education, where we invite students from pre-K to high school to come see a live performance here during school hours. And the teachers get a study guide to talk about the show. And a lot of these shows meet the requirements for curriculum-based activities, especially for the public school system. But we have private Catholic students visiting us all year. We present usually 15 a year. Now, when COVID hit...
Yeah, tell me about that. So I think everybody who's watching this, I hope they can figure out, we all know what COVID did to us in our professional lives and our personal lives. Unless you were truly committed to the arts, I don't think there's a lot of understanding of what COVID did to the arts. I mean, it was devastating. And it's something that in many places, places folded, things happened. And yet, not only did you guys persevere, but you figured out a way to actually really maintain your ties to the schools. Tell me about that.
So now, it was that March 13th, 2020, when we had a shutdown. 2 weeks before, I did say to the staff, I want to be able to work remotely, just in case something happens. Believe me, we're not going to be stuck home. But let's just plan something that I want to make sure we all have computers, that we keep going somehow. I was really shocked. I really was just doing it just like when you take the umbrella on vacation with you, right?
Sure.
So we realized show closed, we're staying home. Within those 1 or 2 weeks, oh my goodness, the turmoil in all our lives, right, with the lockdowns. We couldn't go anywhere. Thank God we were ready to continue with working with my core admin creative team. So there was 8 of us. So every day we would have a meeting and I'd say, guess what? We have to adapt to change. We're going to stay focused. We're going to stay on course, and we're going to get through this. So within, the next week, that announcement that schools are closed to April 20th, I'll never forget this. And I remember saying, wow, schools are going to close for 5-6 weeks. Can't get over this. Not knowing what the future was going to bring.
Months.
Right? It's the first time we're going through a pandemic.
Yep.
So I said, guess what? Let's start thinking ahead, and we're going to have to pivot to virtual programming. So we did. The good thing is that these regional theater companies that we always work with have been working on presenting the shows virtually from the stage. So we worked with them very closely, that we presented 15 shows throughout September 2020 to June 21, where most of these students remained home. And we encouraged all the teachers, guess what? Add some creativity. Tell the children they're sitting in a red velour chair and they walked in the red carpet, and have a little snack next to them. Give them that real feel, that they have to use their imagination. You watch the show together and then you talk about it afterwards. And many of them wrote us beautiful letters thanking us, because it's amazing about the healing power of the arts.
Yeah, and let me just say, I want to remind everybody as we're watching this, and I think you know this, how few people in some of the largest places were actually able to pull this off, right? Most of Broadway didn't do this. Actually, I think, and you mentioned it earlier, Hamilton got a lot of press for doing this because so few did. The Met said it was too complicated to do. Yeah. And yet you were able to do this for our children. And I think that's an amazing thing to be able to do. And it's a testament to really how this place and you are committed to the community and to other organizations in helping them.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, our Christmas show, we turned our Christmas show virtually. So instead of 10,000 in-person folks seeing our show, 70,000 people watched it virtually last Christmas, because we were closed. If you remember, we couldn't open up till May of 21, and that was with restricted seating at the time. We didn't open up to full capacity to this October. We were literally closed till May. We were not allowed to have one production in here.
Yeah, again, pointing out how much the arts suffered and how limiting this was and how important these organizations are to really the cultural identity of Staten Island. I mean, there aren't a lot of St. George theaters on Staten Island. There's just not a lot of places of this kind of significance, and it's so easy to lose them and to not move on with them.
You know, we are the premier performing arts center for Staten Island, so we have to hold up to that title, and we had to produce for everyone, you know, and I'm happy to say we did the best we did, and I think Staten Island is proud of us.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. And I wanted to ask you one other question relating to the origins of this place. I know the kind of relationship you had with your mom and kind of how much of a driving force she was behind this happening. And sadly, you lost your mom.
Yeah.
And I think when those things happen, it's very easy for people to kind of disperse and for something to go on. That decision, in talking to you and your sister in the past, it feels like it was a fairly easy decision for you, and yet a momentous decision, I think, for Staten Island. Was there any thought at that time of actually, okay, let's see if somebody else is interested in this, or this was full steam ahead all the way through? Because she was such a huge figure here.
Full steam ahead. She trained us well. She told us if it's too stressful after a year, walk away. Because it was stressful even when she was
And then there's
here.
one more year and one more year.
So we really had all intentions of being successful and to keep her vision and her dream alive, you know. And honestly, it's easy running the theater for us. Missing her was the tough part. And community leaders, we have a great board.
They care very much about this place. They talk about it all the time. I think it's like front of mind for all of them. I have to be honest, I think I've had conversations with every one of those people where this is one of the first things that pops to the front of their head, because it's just such a huge part of what they think Staten Island should be. So I have to ask you, your favorite show that's ever been here, the one where you're like, wow, that was amazing, your favorite?
I'm going to give you 3.
Okay.
I can't give you 1.
Okay.
Tony Bennett, Chris Bodie, Diana Ross.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I probably have 10 favorites. Ringo Starr was amazing. Yeah, we had big names here. Chris Rock and Louis C.K. was amazing too. That was a great night. It was Louis C.K. performing 2 shows for us, benefit concert to help Sandy victims.
I remember that.
A major project, yeah. So those were amazing stories, because when Sandy hit, we were supposed to have, a few days later, Jerry Seinfeld. And I remember writing to, first being on the phone with Jerry Seinfeld's manager. Of course, we chose another date around December 5th, 6th. And then Brian Lalonde asked me to chair this group with 3 other people to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, for victims, and see what you could do. So I remember writing to Jerry Seinfeld's manager about 10 o'clock at night saying, we need to raise major funds for Staten Island victims here. By any chance, if we could get folks to donate $1,000 or more, would Jerry Seinfeld be willing to take a photo with them after the show? I hit send. 10 o'clock at night. Now it's 10:30. I was like, oh my goodness, he didn't write back. Am I too forward? Am I asking too much? Oh, I can't believe I did this. He called me back around 10:45 to say, I just spoke to Jerry. And not only will he do that, 100% of the ticket proceeds will go to your organization.
Wow.
It's $161,000.
You know, that story is so meaningful to me, not just because you took the time to ask, but because there are a lot of people out there that when confronted with situations will really try to help, right? And we talk about what philanthropy is and, you know, and what it isn't. Being able to give of yourself when you can really help someone, that's truly an amazing thing. That's a great story.
Another story.
Yeah.
Louis C.K. called us saying, I want to help. I want to do benefit concerts. Let me know how it could help. He was here maybe 2-3 years prior. So I said, wow, this would be great. I told him all about the cause, the nonprofit we started to establish funds for our victims. He said, we'll do 2 shows in one day. We're like, great. That raised $140,000. That night, I go backstage to walk in the dressing room to say hey to Louis C.K., and he's sitting there, and there's another nice gentleman sitting right there. And I said, Louis, thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Oh, of course, of course. I went, oh my goodness, I can't believe you're here. I never get starstruck. Never. Oh my goodness, what are you doing here? They're like, shh, I'm going to open up for him.
Wow.
And so Louis said, yeah, he called me last night saying, what are you doing? Let's go out tomorrow night. And he said, I can't. I'm doing a gig at the St. George Theater. It's Chris Rock. So Chris Rock opened up for Louis C.K. for 2 benefit concerts for our Sandy victims. Those are surreal moments to me, you know, and how they want to give to our community.
You're forever a part of that legacy of them giving to the community. You helped them get there. And I think that's a big testament to, you know, what you're able to do here. I am a big believer in the whole Staten Island community helping one another. I think part of the reason, people talk about jobs on Staten Island and people talk about housing on Staten Island, and I really believe that the paths to the more money you spend on Staten Island, the more money that actually gets invested in Staten Island. I really believe that companies follow the money, organizations follow the money. And I think having something like this that you can do these kinds of events we couldn't do before you reopen this is critical. If there's somebody out there who watches this who would love to help in some way, what are things that you're thinking about, or how would they get in touch with you? And I would encourage everyone to say, wait a minute, if I can help one other person help Staten Island, it's going to come back to me in one way or another. So how would that person reach out to you?
You know what's amazing is that every dollar counts to us, and we appreciate every dollar raised to help us continue with our mission as a nonprofit organization. It's not just about quality programming for our community, it's all about the continuing of the restoration to preserve this beautiful venue. There's many ways. Becoming a member, there's different levels. Matter of fact, we're opening up a new lounge called the VG Lounge for the Vincent Rapuso Foundation, who underwrote the renovation of this project.
Yes.
And it's all about enhancing your experience. So the idea is that you get to come in 90 minutes before the doors open. We have private bar and concessions and coat room and seating. And being a member is a big help. Being a patron, being a benefactor, supporting our fundraising efforts. There's many ways, and volunteering. So call us.
Great. Listen, the one thing I will say is the best thing you could do is look at this place. I mean, if you look around, the beautiful stage, the beautiful seats, the place is ridiculous. So if you're thinking about doing a show, or you're thinking about, wait, what does this look like? You could do a lot worse than doing a show in a place that has just shy of 2,000 seats on an island with a population of 500,000. I think people underestimate what you have the ability to offer, even as a business proposition. Gosh, if you're trying to do something to the outer boroughs, it's not that hard to get here. There's a whole bunch of people that live here, and it's beautiful. And people will walk away going, wow, what an amazing opportunity, because it's a special place.
Mm-hmm. It's here for Staten Island, but it's here for all of New York City.
Yep.
65% of our patrons are Staten Islanders, but 35% are off Islanders.
Well, I really hope to see people here. I hope to see you again, and I'm really looking forward to actually being shoulder to shoulder with people at one of your amazing shows.
Thank you, and we look forward to having everyone back here in 2022 for a fabulous show.
Yep. Thanks so much.
Healthwish wishes to thank our very special guest, Doreen Cugno. You can support the theater in a number of ways. Just Google St. George Theater, Staten Island, or visit them on Facebook. Thanks for watching Healthwish. We hope to see you again soon.